Hello? Okay, so thank you and welcome to this section. We call this section the FIAP Spotlight. I'm sure most of you are enjoying the video that was being played on the screen. But before we delve into the section, what I want to do is acknowledge a few stakeholders that are in. So thank you once again to NEIP, the Director of Business and Policy, for coming, and also the Director at COTVET for also being here. I'm happy we have Sara Nicholls. Sara Nicholls is the Head of Development and Cooperation at the High Commission in Ghana, the High Commission of Canada in Ghana, yes. Before I begin my questions, so we're going to look at FIAP. We saw a quick video on FIAP, but I would say when you look at Canada as a country, Canada is really the model and the mirror when it comes to gender equality. And across the world, you would see a lot of amazing things Canada as a country is doing. And there's a lot we can learn from Canada. Once again, a big thank you to our partners who have believed in us, Global Affairs Canada and Canada World Youth, who are also based in Canada, believing in Africa Skills Hub and making things happen as together we work on this journey together. So, Sara, good to have you.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And thank you for honoring our invitation. So we saw a video there, FIAP. Some know, some don't. FIAP is the Feminist International Assistance Policy by the Canadian government. My first question to Sara is to find out, what is FIAP?
What is FIAP? Well, thank you so much for having me here today. It truly is an honor. You know, I feel a bit sheepish standing here speaking about Canadian policy when it's such a great day to celebrate Ghanaian policy with this document that's being launched. So I'm so excited to be here because policy truly is the frame to guide action. So once you have the frame, you've already done the hard work. So congratulations to the African Skills Hub and the partners that are here to support that. But to get to your question, the FIAP, the Feminist International Assistance Policy, it was launched in the year 2017, and it was based on extensive consultation. There was consultation with Canadian partners, with partners here in countries where Canada has been a long-time partner, and really the question was, how can we get at the issues of gender equality to shift the norms and the barriers that are holding women and girls back. It set out 6 distinct action areas for delivery of international assistance, core areas of gender equality and empowerment, human dignity, growth that works for everyone, environment and climate change, inclusive governance, and peace and security. And within each of the action areas sets out deliberate actions to address the systemic barriers and harmful social norms that prevent women and girls from achieving their full potential. That truly is the effort of our international assistance work to put women and girls at the heart of everything we do. And I should say one of the things that came with the policy was some very significant targets. And one of them was to ensure that 95% of our international assistance bilaterally, so working in countries such as Ghana, has a gender equality component. And there is a wide range, you know, some do a little and some do massively transformative change, but we're almost there. We're at 94% now. So, you know, due to the work of partners such as African Skills Hub, who are part of that movement, we're getting there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for such an elaboration on the FIAP. But before I even follow up on this, for our online viewers, you could have your questions coming in. I'll definitely read your questions. Those on Facebook, Africa Skills Hub. Those on YouTube, Africa Skills Hub. Definitely, I'll take your questions when they come in. My follow-up was, why the need for girls and women?
It's a really good question. And it's because there is an abundance of evidence that shows that if you invest in women and girls, that will act as a multiplier force in achieving all of our development objectives. Without that, we're not going anywhere. So things like access to education, you need literacy tools to make sure that people have the ability to run their small businesses. You need to be able to eliminate gender-based legal and social barriers so that women can have access to capital. Without that, they're not owning property, they are not able to maintain their own bank accounts. And we need to make sure that there is a pathway to safe and secure and decent jobs. Not all jobs are created equal, and women need the tools to be able to advocate for those good jobs. And control over decision-making of your own body, so that you can have children, the number of children that you want and at the timing that you want, makes a massive difference in reducing maternal mortality and increasing child health. Those are some of the main reasons. There's many, but those are some of the main.
I think thank you for that, and I'm happy you mentioned the definitely when you invest in women, that rippling effect is quite a lot, and that is really of essence and importance. Even in development indicators, you would want to talk about development a lot more when there's a lot of women are being empowered, or there's a lot of impact when it comes to empowerment for women. Creating the needed economic opportunities for women is really key. This policy has been around from 2017, but how has this policy changed the way Canada works in development? How has this policy, FIAP, changed how Canada works when it comes to development?
Thank you for that question. While Canada has been a partner in gender equality for decades, this was a fundamental shift for us because it truly set out focus and targets so that all of our work went through the lens of women and girls. Our leadership at the highest levels continued to reiterate that women and girls are at the heart of all of our efforts. And Daniel, I wanted to pick up on one of your points about empowerment. I truly believe that women have their power, but we need to be breaking down the barriers that is containing that power. It's there. We just need to help facilitate the structural and systemic changes to make sure that women can achieve their full potential. And I would say with any good policy comes targets and results, as I talked about, but also funding commitments. And there was once the policy was launched and the targets were articulated, there was funding commitments that were put against it, because without being able to deliver with support, then the words remain words on a page, and that was definitely not the intention of the FIAP. A massive increase to the budget, $2 billion over 5 years to implement the policy, which was the largest increase to Canadian international assistance since 2002. And shifts in how this money was used. There was development of a women's voice and leadership program, which was created to make sure that funds were getting to women's organizations, women's rights organizations, in the hands of organizations that don't necessarily always have the capacity to write the massive funding proposal, and that they were able to access funding for things that they needed in their communities and that were very relevant. Within this funding commitment was also standing up something called the Equality Fund, which you may have come across. It's meant to transform the philanthropy space for women's organizations, so that to build on this need for making sure that funds get in the hands of those who are pushing for change. So if I could just reiterate that the shift was to build on work that's been done for decades, but to just really formalize it in a way that all of our work had the FIAP in mind.
Thank you. And I once again definitely must say a good job for the Canadian government. When you look at the recent Generation Equality Forum that was held in Paris, it was really fascinating seeing your Prime Minister commit again to increasing more when it comes to gender equality. The forum really looked at just a clear objective in the next 5 years. How do we accelerate gender equality? So from now to 2026. So then I must say the Canadian government is doing a lot. We know there is still a lot that has to be done, but I'm happy with so far what you guys are doing.
Thank you. We do, we also have lots to learn, and we're learning from our partners as we go. The policy, how we're implementing it has shifted and changed, and we've learned as we're seeing, policy documents like this evolve. So we will learn from those experiences. And, I must also just say, while we have contributed quite a bit, we still have lots to learn on the Canadian side as well. So please, we're here to learn.
Well, we were coming to learn, but since you also have a lot to learn from us, then we are baffled about that. But definitely there is a lot we've been following what you guys have been doing. That is on the policy, the amazing impact in various countries, the various programs that are being implemented. But I really want your view on this. Men, yes, when we speak about the issue of gender equality, you can't do this without the involvement of men. In our program, that is the Women's Entrepreneurship and Livelihood Initiative, we having together with Global Affairs Canada and Canada World Youth. There is a course, and that there's a clear focus, on male engagement. Because male engagement is really key here. So I really want your take on how are men really important in fulfilling this FIAP policy. How should we engage men? How relevant are they in this policy?
Thank you. Well, I'll definitely speak to why men are relevant, but I'd be interested to hear from the men in the room how they feel they can contribute to that change. Because from my point of view, without men and boys, there really is no real and lasting change. It's just not possible because the dynamics in the home, the dynamics in the community, the dynamics in the church, the dynamics in the school, it's very rare that there is a space that is just one gender. And so to achieve that gender equality aim that I think all of us here in the room are aiming for, we just cannot do that without getting at power relations, because truly that's at the heart of it. It's who has the power and who is holding back other people's power. So if you are not able to take the decisions that you need for your own self due to how you need to negotiate at home or within the community or within the society, then those harmful norms and stereotypes will continue. So I truly feel that if we continue to just focus on one half of the population, we're not going for that transformational change, that change that will last through generations and that our children and our children's children will be able to enjoy. So at the societal level, I feel that bringing men and boys along is essential, but we have to also learn from men and boys about what their views and what really, where they feel that they can be champions and helpful and to be supportive of the women and girls in their lives.
Thank you. But we have a lot of male here.
I'm looking at
yes. So these are directors of different institutions, and we go to hear their thoughts on the panel discussion.
Wonderful.
But just to again on the issue of the male, a follow-up question on this. I know you are head of cooperation for Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Liberia, or Togo.
Togo.
Sorry. Can you? So definitely meaning you have oversight on these three countries. Can you just give us a perspective on gender equality, male engagement? So Ghana, I know you are here mostly, but it'll be good to hear your thoughts on Sierra Leone and Togo before I go to my concluding question.
For sure. Our programming in Sierra Leone is really focused on education, and so it's been very interesting in the education space to see the shift within male teachers. For me, that's been the biggest learning in terms of male engagement, is what a strong male teacher can do to encourage girls to finish their primary education, but then also dream for spaces that are traditionally for men in Sierra Leone. Sciences, maths, high business degrees, and to see girls choosing STEM, choosing to be medical doctors. I find that just having that male champion in their lives of someone that says, I believe in you, even if there's other people along the way, maybe someone at home, maybe someone in the community, but that person that is close to the girls and encouraging them along the way, it goes for miles.
Thank you. So this is my final question. Then what I'll do is maybe I'll take two comments from some of our male directors here, just on their thoughts. But before I do that, as we conclude, so the overall objective of today's event is obviously to launch that is a gender mainstreaming policy guide. But we'll be leaving here also with setting up what we call the Gender Entrepreneurship Committee. So that will be made up of CEOs. I'll come back to that later. But for such a committee, who will be just ensuring the recommendations from this policy guide are really executed well with the various government institutions. But how can we learn from Canada? I know you will be learning from us, but how can we learn? Because FIAP is really the mirror when it comes to gender equality. There are so many beautiful things to learn in terms of how programs are designed and being implemented. What are the things we can adopt? Because obviously the terrains are different. First world, third world, these are two different dynamics. But what are some of the interesting things you think we can adopt as we try to make sure gender is mainstreaming in our country?
Well, there's 4 things that come to mind in that question. As I think on my feet here, the first one would be to make sure that you set bold and ambitious targets so that you are really taking the policy document that you've worked so hard on and making sure that what you're setting out as actions are moving towards transformational change. So dream big, but make sure that it's grounded in really specific actions. The second would be, and this is a learning that we've taken on, is that you need to monitor as you go. You can't just wait until the end and then say, okay, what did we achieve? And please let's roll up all the numbers. Because what's important is what's happening with your stakeholders. And the stakeholders are not a homogenous group. Even within Canada, it's a huge geography with language differences and cultural differences, many new Canadians that have come from all over the world, Indigenous Canadians. The experience is not just one experience of women and girls. So making sure that you are able to learn from those experiences as you go and measure. The third would be to make sure that you have those champions and you bring them on board. So is it the Queen Mother at the community level? Is it the Minister for Gender Social Protection? Who is that champion that's aware of what you're doing and they're able to speak to your experiences? And the fourth would be to make sure that you don't just leave your policy document on the shelf, that you read it, you challenge it, you note what doesn't work, but that you also really celebrate what is working, because it is hard work, this transformation work. The people here in this room, they're doing the heavy lifting, but to make sure that you're celebrating your successes, because when change happens, it's really a beautiful thing.
Wow, thank you so much. Shall we really give her a resounding clap? I think for these 4 pillars, we will definitely ensure the gender policy guide really sits on those pillars. So thank you so much for that. Yes, as we conclude, I will definitely acknowledge a few partners and stakeholders who are in. But Franklin, I know you guys will be speaking, but it would be good to hear any male director would want to ask a question or a contribution before we wrap up. Any male director here? Directors of organizations, CSOs. Okay, so I think for these 2, I can go straight to them. Yes. So the executive director of Social Enterprise Ghana. That is an enterprise body of over close to about 500 social enterprises in the country.
I think this is a wonderful policy guide, and for us, our Social Enterprise Ghana, a lot of our engagements, be from programming, engagement of policy makers, has always been mainstreaming gender in our programs and policy work. Indeed, 2 of our major programs this year is mainly targeted at young women and girls. The Green Economy Ghana project, which is training about 400 young women in waste management, is one good example in that direction. Now, 5 years ago, we started a journey in bringing along a document we call the Ghana Social Enterprise Policy. And now we have to go back to the drawing board to mainstream gender, because that was not one of the major considerations in our engagement of government. So I will encourage other male directors to push along this journey of mainstreaming major areas around gender in all the programs and policy engagement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Edwin. Very grateful. That is the director for SE Ghana, Social Enterprise Ghana. So once again, thank you so much, Sara Nicholls. Quite amazing discussions with you. I think definitely there are, from the many things you mentioned, the 4 pillars will be what we'll be going with. We'll definitely dream big, no two ways about that. We'll try and implement them, we'll measure as we go and learn. Then obviously we'll make sure we engage others in this work. Together we can't do this by ourselves. So thank you so much for that. Let me once again, before we conclude, say thank you to other stakeholders who are in the building. So we have reps from the European Union, reps from GIZ. Thank you for coming. We have CD, that is CFDA Canada. We have Media Canada too. Various Canadian organizations. WUXC, thank you. World University Services of Canada, who are based in Ghana. Thank you so much for coming too. So Sara Nicholls, thank you so much. And definitely we'll move to the next section. Thank you.